Welcome back to a special Traveling with Krushworth episode. In this, my first ever full-length video, I've featured top things to see and do in Ireland and Northern Ireland. With me as your guide, visit Dublin, the majestic Skellig Michael Islands, Dingle and the Dingle Peninsula, and the wonders of Galway and its surrounding countryside. For me, the adventure started in Dublin, in particular the Party District Temple Bar. Nothing beats the energy this region, known for its music and arts, offers visitors, artists, and residents. Travelers know Dublin for its public houses, Viking history, and for it being one of the fastest rising tourism destinations in Europe. It's also a city of churches, universities, and heritage. Both Christ Church and St. Patrick's cathedrals are must-visit places. One of my favorite memories was walking silently through the pews. Both medieval sites are open to visit. I couldn't wait to visit Trinity College, one of 7 ancient universities in Britain and Ireland. I traveled a long way for the 9th century Book of Kells, but stayed longer for the grounds. Visitors are able to photograph the famed Long Library, but no photography is allowed in the room that houses the illuminated manuscript. The book is one of the nation's treasures. What's up, everyone? I'm at the Guinness Storehouse Experience, and it is very cool. And as you can see, everything Guinness, which is not a surprise seeing where I am. Alright, so I'm going to go see how Guinness is made, and then I'm going to have one at the top, and you'll see my experience as I go. So, see you later. The Brazen Head pub, and although this building here was built in the 18th century, they call it Ireland's oldest pub because there's been a pub or a public house on this site since the 12th century itself. It's very cool, and I just had the biggest hamburger of my life, so I'm gonna go walk it off. See you later. The underground crypt at St. MICHAN'S Church, located on Church Street, is one of the city's most surprising and creepy destinations. Knowing this, I had to find out more for myself. Despite it being a leap of faith to climb into the tombs, it's worth it for the stories you'll get to tell. You won't soon forget that feeling of adventure or the mummies lying in the tombs below. Check out my Dublin video to learn more about the unique mummifying process. Built more than 5,000 years ago, the NEWGRANGE Passage tomb is older than Stonehenge and the Pyramids of Egypt. This UNESCO heritage site was a definite highlight of my trip. The tomb is at the heart of the ancient Boyne River Valley. Built in the stone-on-stone style seen dotted across Ireland, no water has dripped through to its inner sanctum in 5 millennia. Travelers cannot enter the tomb without being part of a guided tour. Myself, I enjoyed the Grey Line tour, including NEWGRANGE, the famed Hill of Tara, and Howth Fishing Village. When I stepped inside the tomb's ancient passage and maneuvered through the tunnel, it was nothing short of amazing. In fact, I gained a glimpse of an ancient and respected faith. The basin stones in the sanctum once held the cremated remains of the Neolithic people. To this day, the long tunnel to the sunlight outside remains in line with the winter solstice. Ireland has a strong, magical quality, but few sites have the mysticism, depth, and heritage like the Hill of Tara. It was once the seat of the Irish High Kings, where they accepted their crowns. It's a place that takes some imagination, as there is little to see but ancient, sunken earthworks. But if you're a history buff, further stories come into focus when you're wandering the grounds. Start with the Celtic fertility god carved into a stone that has seen the ages pass it by. Visit the Stone of Destiny, which was the site of kingship rituals and an ancient standing stone itself. Marvel at the Mound of the Hostages. Its history stretches further back than the pre-Christian royalty. Neolithic people built it between 2500 and 3000 BCE, long before the kings on the hill. To many, the Hill of Tara is a place of spiritualism, and for me at least, it was difficult not to feel like I am part of something bigger. The mystic nature grabs a hold of you and does not let go. I'm leaving the capital, Dublin, and I'm on a train to Cork, but actually I'm going to Portmagee, which is my destination for Skellig Michael. And what that means is on this train I have to transfer in Mallow, and then take the next train to Killarney. From Killarney, take a bus to Cahersiveen, and then from Cahersiveen I have to take a taxi down to Portmagee, which is the small fishing village, and I can't wait. It's going to be amazing, and I'll show you more as I'm riding along here. Alright, see you later. Alright everyone, so the adventure continues. I am currently in Killarney, got off the train, and now I've got 3 hours until my bus arrives, so I'm off to find some lunch, and then I hope to God that I do not miss my bus, or else I am stuck in Killarney, which wouldn't be an awful thing, but I've got a place to be. Alright, catch you later. Portmagee, located on Ireland's southwest coast, remains the gateway to the enigmatic, windswept Skellig Islands, much as it has been for hundreds of years. Today's travelers visit the fishing village for the chance to board a boat to unbelievable island Skellig Michael, its 9th century steep steps, and the medieval monastery on the highest crag. Due to what many refer to as the island's fragility, the tourism season extends from mid-May to the end of September. Only a limited amount of tourists are allowed on the island per day, with demand high due to the success of The Force Awakens and upcoming Star Wars The Last Jedi. The chances of traveling by boat to the island are lessened by weather and sea conditions. For those excited by the opportunity, don't let this get you down or stop you from trying. The island is one of the most amazing sights I've ever seen. Go to Portmagee and try your luck. But one must book ahead. Secure your spot with your boat months in advance. Then you cross your fingers that you actually travel the day of, as captains can cancel due to storms. If you are among the lucky and do travel, nothing can prepare you for the adventurous boat journey and the island. It is part of our dream world, as writer George Bernard Shaw once wrote. The seas were rough on the way to Skellig Michael, but the sense of adventure, immense overwhelming heritage, and amazement I felt on the way outweighed any of my worries. Most visitors arrive on the island simultaneously as numerous boats dock at the same time. All people must listen to a quick safety lesson at the foot of the stairs before climbing the 600 stone steps to the monastery. It's a good tip to let the main crowds go first to give you ample time on your climb. The most important advice on the steps is to watch each one of your footsteps. Make sure your backpack is secure and your hands are free. On some of the switchbacks, it's vital to know when you're taking a corner, as it's possible to walk right off the edge of the island. There are absolutely no facilities on Skellig Michael, and all are asked to plan accordingly. As you only have a limited time on the island, St. Fionan's Monastery acts as a haunting yet serene looking glass back to the Hermetic Christian monks of the 6th century AD. Look for the monk's high cross and the stone-hewn graves in the burial ground. Ensure you stop and gain an appreciation for the land and what the early monks had to endure to live here. Whereas some visit for the birds, including puffins, and others come for heritage, many brave the sea voyage to the island because it's Luke Skywalker's exile in the latest Star Wars film. For more information on the island's heritage, please watch my Skellig Michael episode. For those who wish to travel to Northern Ireland, but time is limited, tours depart from destinations across Ireland. I booked my Giant's Causeway adventure from Dublin. On the Paddy Wagon tour, I visited the Dark Hedges, a well-known set location from Game of Thrones, the CARRICK-A-REDE rope bridge, and the Causeway, a world-famous destination. Travelers visiting the Giant's Causeway by tour bus only have a limited time to view the amazing basalt columns, but for those staying nearby, there are many nature paths to explore. It has to be noted that I only had one day in Northern Ireland. That was simply because of the other sites I wanted to see in Ireland. One day I will return for further explorations. Alright, so welcome back. I'm on a bus to Dingle. From Angevin I went to Killarney, and in Killarney there was mild levels of confusion about my ticket and why I ended up back in Killarney when I could just transfer through Tralee. I honestly don't think anybody has ever quite done the Ring of Kerry like me, because it is confusing, it's messy, and there's lots of buses, but it's doable. It's actually quite a bit of fun. So I'll see you when I get into Tralee, and then I'll be back on the ground in Dingle. Alright, see you later. Dingle, Ireland is a world-class music destination. It's not uncommon to hear amazing Irish traditional music in the town's many pubs. It's also a location known for the Gaelic language. One of these pubs, Foxy John's, is a bicycle rental, pub, and hardware store. The cast of Star Wars: The Last Jedi had their Ireland wrap party there one night after I stopped there for a pint. For those who are interested in the music but desire a scene different than those offered at the town's pubs, don't miss the folk concerts at historic St. James Church on Main Street. The harbour was one of my favourite places in the community. It's a pleasant place to walk and for watching the comings and goings of the boats, but it's also the dock for Great Blasket Island. Before I set out for the Isle, known for its Irish literature connections, I was more than keen to adventure off onto the Dingle Peninsula. In fact, it's one of the reasons I came to this region. In order for me to visit the off-the-beaten-path historic sites in the rural regions, I booked Dennis Ryan's private tour. For my style of travel, it was excellent, and I do highly recommend it. It was nothing short of incredible to drive by the set of Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which was still filming during the time when I was visiting Ireland. It must be noted that I did not rent a car when traveling Ireland, and a tour was my only option for visiting these sites. The Slayhead Drive can also be a challenge for some visiting drivers. For more information about the history of the peninsula, please watch my Dingle episode. All links for Ireland episodes, those that feature history, can be found in the description below. The boat tickets to Great Blasket Island can be purchased at the harbour office. While many pay to see dolphin fungi, travelers to the island often get to see the famed dolphin on the return trip. The island is known for its literary heritage, but also for its striking beauty. My trip to the Blaskets came as a surprise, as I found myself having a free day, but it's highly recommended. Once visitors arrive, the experience begins immediately. Guests leave the boat, climb aboard a dinghy, and are soon motoring towards the village ruins on the island. It's simply amazing. Adventurers might journey to the island to see the ruins of the village, but it's also a treat to enjoy a hot or cold drink at the island's traditional cafe. It's a not to be missed experience. As for facilities, washrooms are located at the cafe. Most people pack a lunch and find a quiet place to eat. There are no shops, stores, as the town site was abandoned decades ago. If you're traveling to the Dingle Peninsula and have enough time, the landscape up and down the coastlines and on the islands is stunning and far different than in the town. Galway, Ireland is a popular student university town, but, like Dingle, it's also known for its traditional music sessions and pubs. It's a happening, exciting place for travelers to check out. Myself, I used the city as a jumping off point for the surrounding region. This includes the Neolithic portal tombs in the alien-like BURREN landscape, the world-famous cliffs of Moher, and INISHMORE, the largest of the Aran Islands. While in town, visitors must spend time in Galway's Latin Quarter. It's the historic center of town. Many of the churches and heritage buildings are easily accessible. I lucked out and was there when a rugby team, well liked by the Galway locals, won big. A special parade was held downtown. Don't be afraid to join in celebrations, but do so safely. Visitors can hang out with the fly fishing enthusiasts along the River Corrib, follow the river down to the harbour, spend time in the pubs, or reflect in the city's churches and cathedrals. In the summertime, the Galway market is a great addition to an already charming city. So if you couldn't tell, it is Sunday, and I found the weekend market, which takes place throughout the summertime. And there's food and there's art vendors, and it's quite the sight, and it stretches on for quite a long ways. All right, so I'll continue on. See you later. In order to travel outside Galway City, I booked my tour with the Galway Tour Company. The day trip left from the Coke station and was easy to book from the ticket office down the street. For those interested in geography and culture, the Burren is an out-of-this-world rock-strewn landscape. Early Neolithic tombs dot the region, including Polnabrone Dolmen. In fact, it's one of the most recognized sites in Ireland, and it was truly haunting. I couldn't help but think about the ingenuity of these early peoples and the devotion they had to their deceased. We have to remember these ancient people lived, loved, and died surrounded by friends and family during a hard time to walk the earth. If you are on a Coke's tour, please prepare yourself for the knowledge you won't have an overabundance of time at some sites, especially as you make your way to the final stop. The entire trip is done so you will have ample time at the famed Cliffs of Moher. You'll see castles, Celtic high crosses, and ancient revered places along the way. It's simple, perfect for backpackers. I would recommend the Cliffs of Moher Burren tour, but do know that it can feel a bit hurried. All in all, I was ecstatic to be in the countryside, motoring towards the Cliffs of Moher. Alright, well, it was a long trip by bus, because of course I can't apparate like Dumbledore and Harry Potter did. But if you guys are fans of Half-Blood Prince, this was one of the locations in the film for Voldemort's Horcrux, the scene in the cave. But I'll show you more as I'm walking along. See you later. INISHMORE, the largest of the Aran Islands, is easily accessible from Galway City. Before I left Canada, I purchased a ticket online with Aran Island Ferries. Upon arriving, I took my confirmation to the desk, which was at that time inside the Ayr Square shopping centre. It takes almost an hour to get to the port, which is outside Galway. Once there, you're shuttled onto the correct boat, based on which island you wish to travel to. Myself, I visited INISHMORE, which boasts early Christian heritage, and AONGHASA, a stone fort originally built in 1100 BCE. The ferry ride was smooth, but can often be rough sailing. Small Kilronan town has some overnight accommodations, but I opted for the day excursion. Visitors can choose between 3 forms of transport: bicycle, horse and carriage, or by van. If you are capable and have the time, visiting the Aran Islands by bicycle is unbelievable. I was nervous, but once I set out on my adventure, it was one of the most freeing moments of my trip. Travelers can rent bicycles from the ferry dock. It's hard to miss the shop, as many people use this as their first stop. One pro tip: watch out for passing vehicles on the narrow roads. Many visitors to the island stop off at the town store and get a fresh-made deli sandwich and water bottles for the road. There's also a nice coffee shop located in the town. I started down the coastal road and stopped at as many of the Christian church ruins I could find. It was a calming experience, as I had many of these religious sites to myself. Don't miss the seal colony, but know that if you are doing the day trip, you've only got a limited time on the island, and the stone fort at AONGHASA is your final and most brilliant stop. Visitors park their bicycles down by the entrance to the tourist site and begin the climb up the hill towards the fort. Think back for a second as to how defensible this location would have been. On the way back, travelers have the option of returning the same way or taking the high road by some quaint homes. It's a steeper road on a bike, but well worth the climb to greet the locals.